Now, ordinarily when a person sings, you would consider this music, but now you're going to hear a voice that is not a person at all, but a computer singing. Listen.
Computer singing?
A computer singing.
Watch Mr. Wizard. That's what all the kids in the neighborhood call him, because he shows them the magic and mystery of science in everyday living.
Mr. Wizard! Oh, hi.
Hi. What did that sound like?
The last part would sound like a duck.
Yeah.
Quack.
This is the sort of music that you hear in cartoons.
Cartoon.
Yeah, they like cartoon music. Well, the reason I played it is today you and I are going to investigate noise.
Noise.
And that was a record that combined them both. Before we do, though, maybe I ought to find out what you think noise is. And I'll warn you now that we're going to find out a lot more about noise than you think. Go ahead. What is noise?
Oh, noise is a sound that's unpleasant. Like
Sound that is
you
unpleasant.
bang a pan. It's something that's unpleasant. Like music is pleasant.
Oh, I
So
see.
noise
Well,
is the opposite.
let's not talk about music though. Let us talk about noise. In other words, it's either noise or non-noise, whether it's music or what it is. In fact, maybe the best way to do it is I will produce two sounds, and you tell me whether you call them noise or not noise.
All right.
Okay, here's the first one.
That's not noise.
Not noise.
No.
Here's the second. What'd you say?
That's noise, all right.
That's noise. Oh, why did you say one was noise and the other not?
Oh, the whistle. That was pleasant. And the noise, not the, like thunder.
Yeah.
That was unpleasant. It hurt your ears.
Okay, so your definition of noise at this point is whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. All right. Well, now, isn't it possible for a composer to purposely write music that is unpleasant because that's the effect he wants?
And if it's music that he's writing.
Yes. So maybe that definition of noise, just pleasant and unpleasant. Well, let's try
I don't
something
know.
else.
I always thought
Here's
noise
another
was
one.
Pleasant.
Now, how about that?
It's noise.
Well, no. In Japan, where this music comes from, that could be the most popular singer of the day,
Wasn't it noisy?
singing
It was
beautiful
squeaky.
music to Japanese ears.
To me, it was squeaky
Well,
and noisy.
now you get into another problem. If your definition of noise is that it's unpleasant, the Japanese would disagree with your definition of noise. They would say that this is pleasant and music, and you say no, it's noise. Now what do you do?
Which is it?
Yeah, which is it? In other words, what I want you to realize is that the kind of noise that you're talking about is a very subjective kind of noise. By this I mean each person makes up his own definition of whether it's noise or not, depending on what he has learned as music. And
Also, I was right and...
right and wrong both,
Yes, right
but
and wrong
each person makes
one
his
way.
own definition. In this case, the Japanese think that this is music, and therefore it's considered pleasant for them. Or that's why they call it music, because it is pleasant.
Not to me.
Now, they were using traditional Japanese instruments and voices. Now let's listen to some, well, I won't tell you what it is. See if you consider it noise or non-noise.
All right.
Well, you see, this
First
is...
I thought it was noise, and then it turns out to be like music.
Yeah.
And
In other words, if some of these sounds were heard by themselves, you might consider them noise, but now a modern composer has put these kind of sounds together and made a musical composition out of it. At least he considers it music, and many other people do also. Yet some people who are accustomed to traditional music would consider that nothing but noise, because each person makes his own definition.
Oh, that's right, like you said before. But it
Here,
depends on the person.
these are musical instruments that are used in new ways, plus other sounds. So now I will play some another selection for you this time. It is going to be, I think, very definitely music, yet no musical instruments are involved. In fact, there's even a vocal. But I'll tell you about that later. Listen. Now listen.
No instruments?
No instrument. This is a computer. Man punched cards out and fed them into a computer, and a computer automatically put the right frequencies together.
So it's singing.
And what you are hearing then is a tape that was made via the system. No musical instruments at all. Certainly music, isn't it?
Oh, yes, that's so nice.
Now, ordinarily when a person sings, you would consider this music, but now you're going to hear a voice that is not a person at all, but a computer singing. Listen.
Computer singing?
A computer singing.
Marriage.
I had a whole lot married, but you look sweet upon the feet of a bicycle built for two.
What? Gee, for a computer, that's very good.
Isn't that? He has a little trouble with some of his letters.
Yes.
Can't, he didn't, and look, bicycle, you
Marriage.
look, he had a little trouble with. The point is that this definition of music, or of noise, is, as I said, a very subjective one. Now let me see if I can show you an example of how I can take music and right in front of you change it into noise.
Change it to noise?
Right.
Well, if you don't change the music composition, how could you,
Now,
just say
wait.
change
First
it
of
to
all,
noise?
let me play this and see if you will agree that it is music.
Oh, that's music.
Nice music selection. Very cool new style. Now, while I think we would both agree that this is music. Now,
Yes.
I want you to pay very close attention to what I say, because what I say is now going to be drowned out by the music, and music now becomes noise.
Excuse me?
You see how the music became noise?
Yes, it was in my web, but I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
What'd you say?
Now, this time we're talking about an entirely different kind of noise. The people, the scientists and engineers who develop the ideas of how we communicate have developed what is called an information theory. And they say that a new definition of noise, the one that they use, is any kind of thing, sound, picture, whatever it is, that gets in the way of our communication is noise. So this music is going to get in the way of what I'm saying. My voice is what you are paying attention to. This is the information. And I'm going to, as I turn the music up, the music now becomes noise because it gets in the way of... This is what your father will say. Will you turn that noise down? When really it's very nice music.
That's right.
Now, it also could be the other way. I will turn the music up. Now, you want to listen to the music, but if I start talking to you, whoops, I don't want those guys talking. I was just me. Now, if you're going to try to listen to the music and I come in and start talking away like a girlfriend comes in, yeah, then you say,
Quiet.
and I become noise. I become noise because you want to listen to the music. So you see, in this new definition of noise, it all depends on what you're trying to hear or where you're trying to get the information. And anything that gets in the way is considered noise. All right?
So when I was listening to this, then you were the noise.
Right. And when you were listening to me,
Me,
it
that
was
was
noise.
noise.
Okay. In fact, they have a way of expressing this in a sort of mathematical relationship. And here on the scope, I think I can show that to you. Take out the record player and put in my little signal generator where you hear that noise there. Now let us say that this is the information.
All right.
How many bumps are there?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Now, let us say that we're designing a automatic computer that will send a signal to the moon, and you've landed on the moon. And when you get this frequency, 4 bumps like this means return home.
All right.
Say. However, as we send this signal up to the moon, it could be interfered with by noise. Now watch what happens. I'm going to add some noise to it.
I can't tell the signal. I don't know what it is. Well, how will I know to come back home?
That's the point. So what the scientists who deal with information theory have now said, they call this the signal, and they call this noise. And they say, I'll fix this up now so that the signal is just 2 of these little spaces wide, right?
Yes.
Now if I add noise to it, so that I add 2 more spaces, in other words, I'll add the noise up to go here and here, I will have now as much noise as signal, so they say the signal to noise ratio is 1 to 1. Watch.
I can't tell either one.
Notice that you cannot determine the signal from the noise, at least in this system.
No, I can't.
The signal to noise ratio is 1 to 1. Too much noise for the amount of signal. In fact, I'm going to try a test out. Let's say that this indicates come back home, but a different signal indicates something else. I'm going to turn up the noise and I'm going to change the signal and see if you can tell what the new signal is. Watch. I just changed it. What is it?
I don't know.
Now,
Too many bumps.
there's too much noise. There's too much noise for the amount of signal. Now I'll gradually turn down. Whoops, not too fast. I turn down the noise.
Yeah.
How many are there?
Every time I count 1, it disappears into another one.
Now I'll turn down the noise slowly. You see?
1, I can see. Now I see it. 1, no, 2, 3, 4, 5? No, 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 and a half.
4 and a
See,
half.
What I do, I'll turn it over a little more.
5.
Now, you can also do it the other way. You could also have a certain noise level, and as long as this noise level exists and a weak signal comes along, you're not going to hear it. But if I increase the signal ratio so that it's much greater than the noise, in spite of the fact that, see the noise and see how noisy the signal is, but you can still read it quite easily. In fact, this happens when you drive in a car. If you turn up the radio when you're driving along in a car at high speed, what happens? It's like this. You have a lot of noise coming from the car, and so you have to turn up the radio louder in order to hear it. And then when you stop, suddenly the radio is too loud. Ordinarily it's like this, then when you stop, it's too loud. And so what you have done is you've turned the radio up loud enough so that the signal-to-noise ratio is enough so that you can hear. Okay? Mm-hmm. So now what we will do is we will look at some examples of this noise and signal ratio and see how even in lots of ways that you didn't think of, you are aware of this signal-to-noise ratio in information theory. And the first thing I'm going to do is play a game. Come on. Here's a kind of a puzzle. I'm going to write a message for you.
All right.
And here's the message.
K-L-C-C-L.
There's the message.
That's not a lot of message.
Now, in other words, here the signal is pretty weak, isn't it, compared to the noise, which is all the empty spaces. You need more signal and less noise. Huh? All right. I'm gradually increasing the signal-to-noise ratio until it's getting higher and higher signal, less and less noise. You need more? Really?
Yes.
Oh, I left something out here. Let's do it like that. Come on. Do I have to add much more?
Jack and Jill went up the hill.
Yes, Jack and Jill went up the hill.
Oh, it's the wind.
The wind gave it away. Now, notice that you were, how much noise there is in this signal and how you were able to recognize it because you were looking for an expression which both of us knew. And that there were lots of things left out. In fact, I have only one vowel in the whole place. See that? In fact, the scientists who work with information have discovered that you really don't need vowels. That if you send in the consonant information over, radio or whatever it is, or in code, that you can get along without the vowels. There's enough information in the consonants for you to get the message most
But I
of the
need
time.
some signal.
You certainly
Beginning
needed some
out.
signal. Now notice that this was a negative kind of noise. We had a little signal with lots of noise, but it was negative. Nothing was there.
Yeah.
It's negative noise.
You had to add signal.
You had to add signal. Now let's do the opposite.
What's that?
Well, this is a signal that has a lot of noise in it.
Too much noise, I
Yes,
think.
too much noise, and it's like a code. Because I've taken the signal and I've put a lot of noise in it so that you couldn't read it. And
What
somehow,
does it say?
somehow
How are
you
you going to find out?
well, you have to put a filter on it to filter out the noise. And here's the filter. Watch. Notice now.
What does it say?
There it is.
Mhm.
See that N, the first one?
Yes.
I'll put this over the N.
Noise.
Now,
What
see
is
the
the
next
noise
one?
for that?
See the M?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put it over that.
Makes. Noise makes. Sense.
That's it. Noise.
Noise makes sense.
See? Now, the signal-to-noise ratio was
Look at
what in
that.
this case?
Oh, 1 to 1.
No, it wasn't, because in
No?
this case we had, when you were trying to read noise, there was 2 other letters that were in there,
Oh,
so the
so
signal
the-
ratio was the other way. It was 1 to 2. There was twice as much noise as signal.
Oh, because there was more
There's
noise.
more noise
and
than
you
signal.
don't have a signal.
But by putting
I
a
see.
filter in here, you see I could take it out. In fact, this idea of filtering is one of the systems that scientists use for being able to, under very ideal conditions, be able to detect one part of signal in 1,000 parts of noise by using filters like this.
Very
And
good.
of course, this is a method. This is a method of sending a code, isn't it? By putting a lot of noise in.
That's a good way.
Yeah.
I could give my friends, nobody would never know.
Okay, well now let's do this with probably the idea of signal to noise ratio probably originally came from radio. So let's use walkie-talkies and see if we can do this negative and positive noise. Here, you stand over here like this and use this. You turn around, don't look, because I'm going to walk over on the other side of the room, and I'm going to take this walkie-talkie and talk to you.
Mhm.
And first of all, I will send a signal so that we're sure that we're communicating. Then I'm going to send one that has negative noise and see if you can hear what I say. And then I'll send one that has positive noise. Okay?
Okay.
Turn around. Don't look now.
I will.
You understand me? Can you hear me now?
Uh-huh.
Now I'm going to send a signal that has a negative noise. Here we go.
All right. Excuse me?
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't understand it.
Well, the reason you couldn't is because I took my finger off the transmitting button and put empty spaces, yes, so that you couldn't, you only heard part of the message. I'll do it again. This time I won't hold it down. I won't let it go so long. I'll make the spaces shorter and shorter. Ready?
All right. Did you do it once more? More
Very
signal.
little. Very little.
Now I get it. Mary had a little M.
Notice that you got it that time, only you didn't hear a lamb. I just heard part of it, but you were able to fill in the spaces. Okay, now I'll have positive noise. Here, see if you can get what I'm saying this time. Jack and Joe went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Now it's 2 days ago, now 6 and 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
You hear what I said?
Oh, no.
Well, I was counting. But I had the
Too loud.
yes, but it was so loud that there was so much
mixed up.
all mixed up, so you couldn't hear anything. So there was an example of positive and negative noise, and this is a very serious problem when you transmit radio message over long distances. Remember in the satellite flights, they had a great problem because remember when they come in on re-entry, there's radio silence there for a while.
Yes, there's a lot of noise.
Yeah, there was. Well, what he was not able, the signal was not able to get through an ionized section of air on them, and of course they're bothered by static with sunspots. Adds noise to it. Now let's do the same thing with pictures.
Pictures?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Let's first do the negative noise. There's the information.
That's the information.
Yes, that's it. And you see there's a lot of noise, right?
Where's the other pieces?
The
I
signal,
need them.
the signal to noise ratio is very low. Can you get any information out of that picture?
Not much.
Okay.
No.
You want some more?
Yes. Some more.
See, we're gradually increasing the signal to noise ratio.
Look at this. Where's that go? Ah. Somebody. Okay. Oh. I think I know who it is.
You do?
Yes. Now, where are my eyes?
What did you say? Where are your eyes? What makes you think it's you?
Because I can recognize the address.
You recognize the
Yes.
dress. So in other words, you needed just a little bit of information here
Yes,
to
I
fill
know.
it in because you knew the
Where's
dress.
it go? And this goes there.
Now, you think
Yeah,
that's
another
you?
piece.
You think
Yes.
that's you?
I think
do you-
another piece.
There's the whole face is missing. How do you know it's you?
Oh, I can tell.
You can tell, you know
Yes.
your dress, and
Mhm.
I got this picture from your mother, so I cut it all up on a jigsaw, you see. And in spite of the fact that your face wasn't in there, you recognized, now notice that was an example of negative noise. There was not enough picture information, and you gradually got more and more, and as soon as you began to see the dress, well, you recognized it immediately. Okay, now, that's negative noise. Now let's have positive noise. Here. There's a picture.
Where?
Underneath there.
I can't see it with all this.
Well, you see,
Static on it.
there's static on top of it, right? The noise is too great for the amount. There is picture information coming through, though. You can see something back there. There's the edge.
But I don't see any. It's all black.
Okay, well, now let me take off. I'll gradually reduce the noise to signal ratio. Increase the noise to signal ratio. Now, oops, I can see already. See there's something there? I can see that it's upside down because I know what it is, and just a little information is enough to give me. But you don't know? See, there's
some kind of face.
Yeah, there's some kind of a face.
Oh, I know now. It's Alan.
Yeah, it's Alan. Peeking out from behind the brick. And notice that you could get him here in spite of the fact that there was quite a bit of noise in this picture. See? And now that you know what it is, notice that you can recognize them in spite of all the noise, yes. Okay, well now, this is doing this with a still picture, and this might happen if you were looking through a screen.
I can't see you.
You can hardly see me, and the same thing is true when you're driving down the street in a car, if it's raining or fog or snow. There's
a dirty windshield.
Dirty windshield. So you see that it's possible to have that kind of noise in when you try to receive visual information in everyday life. Also, you can get it in television. In fact, I have my television camera set up over here. Come on over here. And I will put the picture of us from the television camera over here on here, but I will add, I will take away some of the signal. And you see this effect here?
Yes, it's not very clear.
Well, what this is, what I'm duplicating here is the effect of snow. In other words, when you are a long ways from the television station and you try to turn in the television, the signal that you're getting that has television picture information on it is relatively weak compared to the amount of static. So as and compared to the amount of noise that's built into the set itself, electronically. So as you turn the volume up higher and higher in order to get the picture, you develop this snow.
Oh,
So
let's get rid of it.
in fact, it's hard to see what it is, isn't it? Now, I'll turn off the snow in effect by getting rid of and now we're getting much greater signal information as compared to the noise. There's probably a little noise in there, but it's not enough to bother us because the signal is so strong it rides over the noise. Now that was the negative one, wasn't
So
it?
you need more signal.
More
less
signal.
Noise.
Now let's keep that same signal like this, but put noise over the top of it.
All right.
See it?
It's not very clear.
Well, you see how just like the screen, like a screen door that I put over
you
it?
put over your
Like
face
this, only
and
this time
picture.
we're doing it electronically. We're taking a perfectly good television signal right here, and we're putting noise over the top of it. In fact, watch, see how you can make the noise move all...
Sometimes our television does that.
Well, this is because there's some extra signal somehow is getting into the picture, and the television engineer could come and check to find out where that extra signal is coming from and get rid of it.
You just kick it.
You kick it?
In a certain way.
That means there's probably a loose connection, you see.
Yes.
It kicks like this, and that's what I'm doing up here by adding and subtracting that noise part of the signal. So that when you talk about information theory now, this picture is the information, and here is the noise. And in some cases, the noise gets so great that we can't even see the picture. Especially, right now you can recognize us because we know, it's us.
Exactly.
But if you didn't know those people, you might have trouble recognizing them when the noise gets real severe. Okay, you get the idea now that, that even in television pictures like that one, there's noise, but most of the time the signal-to-noise ratio is so great, engineers work very hard to make sure that the signal-to-noise ratio is so great that the noise doesn't bother you. Okay, now let's make sure that you understand what this new definition of noise is. Are you ready? Let's go back and look at the oscilloscope again and see if we can see what this signal-to-noise ratio is. Go back over there at the oscilloscope. I will, this time I'm going to hook up a record so we can listen to some music while we talk about the signal-to-noise ratio.
All right.
Ordinarily, you called noise that part of a thing that was pleasant or unpleasant. And actually, in information theory today, the definition is that part of a signal which interferes with getting information across. And in this case, the music now is the signal that we want, and now I'll add some noise. There's the noise, see it?
Yes.
Okay, now watch. I'll take this signal and add noise to it so that it's no longer recognizable, and then I'll take the noise away and you'll recognize it. Watch.
In 1961, Bell Lab engineers created the first computer-sung version of the song Daisy Bell. The early researchers were John L. Kelly Jr. and Carol Lochbaum, who programmed the vocal synthesis, known as the Kelly-Lochbaum vocal tract, and Max Matthews, who was a pioneer in computer music creation. Their speech and music work initially began on an IBM 704 in the late 1950s, because it was the laboratory's primary scientific computer at that time. Multiple computers were used over time. Bell Labs ran the 704 from 1958 into the early 1960s, then added a larger 7090 around 1960 as a high-performance overlap machine. They transitioned to an IBM 7094 beginning in 1962. The 7094 remained in service until phased out in 1969. Afterwards, a GE 645 and later an IBM 360 became their primary systems. The song was made in two separate computer steps and then combined. First, researchers analyzed human speech to identify 34 basic sounds, including length and pitch. Numeric values were assigned and entered into a computer using punched cards. Using a custom speech synthesis program, the computer modeled a human voice, with timing and pitch adjusted so it could sing the words. A digital waveform was created, converted to audible sound, and then recorded on tape. Second, computer music engineer Max Matthews used a computer program to create the musical accompaniment, describing notes and tones with numbers, also on punched cards. In the third step, both the computer voice recording and the computer music recording were then mixed together in a studio to form the final version of Daisy Bell that people later heard. A public demo was arranged by the Acoustical Society of America and shown in Philadelphia on May 10, 1961. The demonstration took place at the Bellevue Stratford Hotel. News reporters who were present described the atmosphere as both awe-inspiring and slightly unsettling. The computer even concluded its performance by thanking the audience for listening. Science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke saw a similar demo a year later and was so impressed that he later convinced Stanley Kubrick to incorporate the song into the film 2001 in 1968. In the final film, HAL 9000 sings the song while being slowly deactivated by astronaut and mission commander David Bowman.